Okay, with this farmer, he has been in farming for 15 years. So what he does is that after harvest, he saw the produce at its raw state. And then I engaged this man, and then we began to interact on how far he has been in the business. So the feedback is that for these past years, the challenge I've been facing is that once you produce the raw produce, it's sold to the buyers at that raw state. Okay, but you realize that the returns this man is making is something very little. I asked him about his annual revenue that he's making over the years, and he mentioned something around 500,000 Ghana cedis, which is very low. Now, with the second farmer, I engaged this farmer, and what this man is doing is something beyond what the first farmer is doing. So with the second farmer, he has gone a step further to establish a processing plant closer to the factory. So what it does is that after the harvest, it sends the raw produce to the processing plant and is able to process this raw material into something new or a new product. And this man, just 5 years into the business, his annual revenue is making is above $2 million US. The first farmer has been in farming for 15 years, but this second farmer has been in farming for just 5 years. The difference is value addition. Now, when you go to the market and you are selling a raw produce, realize that you are getting something little, but once you process it, you are able to get more. So this is simple. When you add more value, you are able to make more. Value addition is the key thing now. Now, when you take Africa as a whole, realize that among all the continents, Africa is the richest continent with the highest concentration of raw material, but yet the poorest continent. The reason has been that we have always been trading in the local or in raw material instead of adding value to it. Other people move from other continents, they'll come to Africa, they'll come and tap into our raw, rich material, they'll go and process and they'll come and sell to us. Now, value addition entails you being able to process a raw agricultural produce into something new that will differentiate the new product from the raw commodity. So in the instance of the second farmer I made mention of, after he is able to harvest, what it does next is to send the raw produce to the processing plant. So for instance, with the tomatoes that he is into, he's able to process the tomatoes into a tomato paste. with the cassava, it's able to process the cassava into a cassava starch. And then with the sweet potato, it's also able to process the sweet potato into a potato starch. And this man is able to make annual revenue of about $2 million as compared to the first farmer who just make about 500,000 Ghana cedis, who has been in farming for the past 15 years. So you realize that value addition is really key. It's the new phase of agriculture. There's a high demand for value addition products globally and locally. And therefore, it is imperative for those in the value-added chain or those stakeholders in value-added chain to embrace this new phase. Now, when value is added to agricultural produce, one, is able to increase revenue. In the instance of the second farmer, you are able to realize that it's able to make more revenue as compared to the first farmer who just trade in the raw farm produce. Now, two, it is able to solve the issue of post-harvest losses. Because once you produce and you are able to process, you realize that there's no room for post-harvest losses. In the instance of the first farmer, it made mention that sometimes when it's not able to get buyers, some of the produce get rotten. Okay, so one of the benefits of adding value to our farm produce or value addition is to reduce post-harvest losses. Now, two, value addition is able to create new markets. So realize that with the instance of the second farmer, with the tomato paste that is able to produce, it can develop a new market where it will be able to sell and make more money. So value addition is also able to generate new market for you. Now, also, value addition is able to bring about product shelf life. So realize that if you take, for instance, tomatoes, when you harvest tomato within 2-3 days, and you are not able to sell or process it, you realize that it gets into a rotten state. Okay, but once you process it, you are able to come up with a new product. Let's say, for instance, with the tomato paste. Tomato paste can be there for like months. But at its raw state, within 2-3 days, you realize that it gets rotten. So it's also able to increase product shelf life as well. Now, like I made mention, the demand for value-added product is on the rise. Therefore, it is time for Africa. It is time for investors. It is time for organizations to channel all their investment into this new era or into this new phase. Because the returns that come with value-added options or value-added product is really key. Now, I have a unique opportunity I would want to share with you in relation to value-added product. Now, I work with TIAST West Africa, and I'll just give you a brief about TIAST. TIAST is an international company that has been in existence over 30 years, and our specialty is in the design and manufacture of processing plant. And our focus is to add more value to agriculture through the application of science and technology. And then we have extended our services to Africa. So when it comes to the West Africa sub-region, our head office is in Ghana. But beyond Ghana, we have offices in Cote d'Ivoire and Guinea-Conakry as well. Now, we have 3 key services that we provide. We have our technical services, we have our off-take services, and then we have our financial services. Now, with the technical services, we are into the designing, the manufacturing, the maintaining of fully automated agro-processing plant. Beyond that, you know that when it comes to factory or when it comes to processing plants, maintenance is very key. So what we do is that as part of the technical services, we provide you with that on-site engineer who is going to be on site for a period of 3 years. You're going to see to the effective run of the processing plant. And it's also going to train locals as well. So periodically, we'll be training locals both on the field of work and even sometimes in classrooms as well. And the unique thing about our technical service is that We have consumable and spare parts hub. Wherever we establish the factory, we create a consumable and spare parts hub, a one-stop shop closer to the processing plant. So whenever there's a need for us to replace a part, or there's a need for consumables, it's easy to supply. It goes within 0 waiting time. Now, with the offtake, what we are saying is that once you process or you produce the raw material from, or the processed material from the factory, what we are saying is that we have already secured the market. And then we are giving 100% guarantee of that market. So once you produce, we offtake on a weekly basis. And the good thing is that we even pay you 7 days before shipment. So this is really a good offer we are giving you. And then our third services is the financial services. Okay, so with the financial services, we understand the financial constraint that comes with when you want to go into agricultural project. Most of the local banks are not willing to help. So as part of our services, we have a financial model that is able to support into this project about 80% of the cost. So that's with our financial model. Okay, now, so I made mention that our specialty is in the design, the manufacturing of processing plant. So what we do is that our processing plant is able to process most of the farm crops. But currently, we are looking at cassava starch production and the natural rubber. The reason is that we have secured ready market for this product currently. So once you come on board, we are able to provide with a ready market. Now, once you produce the product from the processing plant, we are able to offtake without fail. Now, it will interest you to know that currently, a ton of cassava starch is selling at $580. That is very interesting. A ton of cassava starch is selling at $580 per the TTSA pricing. Okay, so it's selling at $580. Now, with our processing plant, we have various capacities. We have the minimum capacity is able to produce 9,000 tons of cassava starch annually. So even if you are going for the minimum capacity, okay, a ton of cassava starch I made mention is $580, and we buy 90% of that FOB. That's somewhere around $522. So if you multiply the ton of cassava starch by the minimum capacity, which is 9,000, you are able to get a returns of about $4.6 million just in the first year. That is so huge. So value added product is able to generate a lot of revenue. This is just an example of it. Just in the first year, when you go into the cassava production, you are able to make a revenue of about $4.6 million just in the first year. So this is really a good opportunity. It is really imperative for investors. It is really imperative for stakeholders in the value added chain. Organizations who want to go into value added projects. This is a unique opportunity for you. And then you need to embrace this. So I'll just pause here and then read some comments, or if there are questions that are coming, I'll read and then try to answer most of the questions. All right, so there's a question here from Chelsea Fosua. Okay, don't you think value addition is expensive? Because farmers in Ghana don't really earn much income for this processing. All right, so that's a really good question. You know, when you want to make good returns, you have to invest. So every good returns comes with investment. So if you really want to make more returns, investment is key. So it's not really expensive though. It's not expensive. Once you invest into it, there's an assurance that within the shortest possible time, you are able to make returns. And with the farmers too, I think there are other institutions that they can reach out to get those funding for such projects. Okay, I'll take another question. Okay. Okay, so there's a question here from Selom Chikata. Please, can TIAST work on a project smaller than the 9,000 tons per year for me? All right, so currently, per our scope of business, the minimum capacity is 9,000. So our minimum capacity currently is 9,000. Yeah. But notwithstanding, you can call me after the webinar session, and then we'll see what will happen. But currently, our minimum capacity is 9,000 tons per year. Thank you. Okay. All right, so somebody asked, is the new market you are talking a local market or international market? How can we have access to this new market that you're talking about after adding value? So I'm referring to an international market that we've secured, okay? So normally what we do is that once we come into the project with our offtake services, we are able to provide that ready market where we offtake and then we pay you 7 days before shipment. So I'm referring to an international market that we have already secured. And then as part of the projects, which are offtake services, we are able to offtake for you, and then we pay you 7 days before shipment.